Hey everybody, welcome to the back gardens. I'm getting ready to start doing the garden tours again. We're going to start them up in April. So I just wanted to let you know that when I do the garden tours, those videos are too long for me to post separately. I don't know how windy things are out here for the mic, so I'm hoping you can hear me okay. So anyway, I'm going to only be able to do like short clips of them onto Instagram, and then you'll have to pop over to YouTube to hang out to see the whole thing. So I do that throughout the summers. If you haven't been around to see those videos, that's what I do monthly. I tour all the gardens that I have here. I have 3 that I tour. We have the back garden, that's where I'm at right now. I have the desert cottage garden, which is in the front. And then I have a secret garden, which is on the side of the house. And that has its own story. It was a driveway, and now it's a really lovely courtyard. So this is the 4th year that I'll be working in these gardens, and it's really exciting seeing everything grow and get bigger and be healthy and happy. And we are headed into, I feel like it's going to be a super dry year. So I am glad that I've put in things that are super drought tolerant, that have shade available, that are up against the walls for wind protection. And I've put in, most everything that does really well here. As far as like food, I've got the raised beds are all done from last year. I'm so happy about that. And tomatoes love growing here. They're so happy here. Melons do really well. Corn does pretty well. I'm going to give up on the snow peas though. I've tried for 2 years. And it just gets too hot for them. Even when I shade the raised beds, they still burn up. So I'm going to be giving up on those, and we'll be working on some other stuff instead. The rain barrels, so I have rain barrels, and they're underneath the downspouts, so they collect rainwater off of the roof, and then we can reuse that to water our gardens. And it's a wonderful thing, but I went cheap. I just have to admit it, just because I just wanted to get it done and have it, and it failed. So the bottoms blew out. But I did use the water that was in there. So I have had to, bite the bullet, as they say, and I've ordered real barrels. So they'll be coming in soon, and we'll be replacing those. So that's one of the things that we do to help with conservation of water here. Also, I'm careful about when I water, particularly through the summers. When it's cold, it doesn't really matter. But in the summers, I water after 7 at night and before 10 in the morning. I prefer after 7 or after, it depends on the time of the year. So earlier in the year, I can do it around 5-ish, but as it gets hotter and hotter, then we go later and later. And for here, that's kind of the opposite of how you should garden in a lot of places. If you water at night, then you tend to get too much moisture for your plants, and they'll get diseases from doing that. But here, because it's so dry, we actually do the opposite and water at night, and that way they can use that nutrient and absorb it before it gets evaporated into the air. So do that. And also, I do have some grass, but I use local grass, and I've been replacing it with clover because clover uses a lot less water. It also stays green most of the year, which is really nice. And the best part is it feeds the ground. Instead of taking nutrients out, it puts it in. So that's really cool. So I've got some projects going to be happening. So like I said, this is my 4th year in these gardens. So most of the really big projects are done, which is fabulous. I'm so excited about that. I just have to amend beds. Excuse me. Pollen blowing through. And back here, I don't know if you can see, it's kind of a mess. I've got a mess over there. That fence that's being propped up with 2x4s. So we have the cement wall, which is fabulous, but our former neighbors behind us, their little kids were climbing up on the wall and sitting up there on the wall. And there were a couple times I thought one was going to come down. And it's a really long drop for them on this side. And they really would have gotten hurt. So that scared me. And so instead of making an issue out of it, I just put up this privacy fence. So it went up a little higher. So they couldn't do that anymore. But then they moved, and then we have a new family behind us. And they have a dog who tries to jump up onto that wall, and he can actually get his paws there on that wall. Again, if he got over, he'd get really hurt. So I don't want that. So I raised it up a little higher, and then they got a trampoline. And the kids love jumping on the trampoline, and it makes Molly insane. So I raised it a little higher. And I think everybody should have fun on a trampoline, have a dog. You should have fun. I'm not complaining. I'm just working on my side of things so that things are safe. However, we have severe winds here. And when I say severe, I mean severe. Like 60 mile per hour, 70 mile per hour winds is not unusual. And I did have it really anchored. I had it cement bolted. I use cement screws and cement, all that stuff, just to make sure it was really in there firmly. But we had a really big windstorm, and it blew right down this winter. So instead of fixing it right away, I'm trying to cover the mic because it's a little windy again. My husband just jammed it back up there. And it was so cold and miserable that I didn't want to deal with it. So now I'm ready. So we're going to be starting to take that down. And the exciting thing is we're going to be replacing it with an arbor that goes across the back wall there. So I'll be able to grow more things in the shady part. So I'm real excited about that. I'll have to find some new places. I used to put sunflowers along that wall, so I'll have to find some new places for sunflowers. But I actually have a couple of places. I've got a place out front in the desert cottage that I plan on adding a place for a sunflower grotto. I guess I'll call it that. So really I don't have huge projects compared to the years before. So I'm really excited about this growing season, even though it's going to be hot and dry. But I'm looking forward to it because I feel like we'll be doing the finishing stuff, and everything that I've put in is thriving. We'll do a tour again, but all of the trees that I've put in are doing really well. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14. I guess I've put in 14 trees back here, and they're all thriving. They're all really happy in this environment. The peach trees, can you see them blooming? Aren't they pretty? And it's not as pretty this year because I did trim this tree back pretty harshly in February, but it needed done. So, and hopefully we'll get peaches this year. Here, because we have such late freezes, sometimes we lose our peaches just because of the late freezes. Last year we did. We had a major freeze the middle of May, I think it was, for several days straight. So, and I tried to save them, but I just couldn't. So here, you get them some years and some years you don't. To me, it's worth the risk. So, and not everywhere can you grow fruit trees in New Mexico, but where we're at, we can. So we have a couple of apple trees back there, and a couple of peach trees back there, and then up front I've got some plum trees, and I plan on putting in a dwarf cherry in the backyard here. So I've got exciting things happening this summer, and hopefully you'll come along for the ride and enjoy it. I hope. Anyway, so that's what's up. You'll see me doing Speedy Stacy work, and then in April doing tours, and I apologize for the wind. All right, guys, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day out there.